Translation: O mankind, 21. Submit to your Lord who created you and those who were before you. In this way only you may expect to save yourselves. 22. Commentary: Even though the message of the Quran is addressed to all, benefiting from it depends on one's willingness and on God's succour in relation to that willingness. This is why the Quran first explained which kind of people can and which kind of people cannot benefit from the Quran. As this has been explained in the foregoing verses, the quintessence of the message to which the Quran invites all mankind is now put forth, so that you are saved from false beliefs and unrighteous conduct in this life, and from the punishment of God in the next. Translation: It is He who has made the earth a bed for you and the sky a canopy, and it is He who sends down rain from above for the growth of every kind of food products for your sustenance. So, when you know this, you should not set up equals to rank with Allah. 23. Commentary: That is, when man recognizes that all those things were done by none but God, then worship. Devotion and service must be exclusively for Him. For who besides the Creator can legitimately claim these things from man? Not to set up others as rivals to Allah means not to make anyone other than God the object of worship, service, and obedience that one owes to God alone. Later on we shall see, in some detail, how the Quran itself specifies the forms of worship and service which we owe exclusively to God, and wherein associating anyone else amounts to shirk, associating others with God in His divinity. This the Quran seeks to eradicate. Translation: And if you be in doubt whether the book we have sent down to our servant is from us or not, then produce at least one surah like this. 24. You may call all your associates to assist you and avail yourselves of the help of anyone other than Allah. If you are genuine in your doubt, do this. Commentary: Before this, in Makkah, opponents had often been challenged to produce anything of comparable merit if they believed the Quran to be the work of a human being. In Medina, the same challenge was reiterated. For similar challenges made elsewhere in the Quran, see 10, 38, 11, 17, 88, and 52, 33. Translation: But if you do not do this, and you can never do this, then fear the fire which has been prepared for the disbelievers, and which shall have men and stones for fuel. 25. Commentary: This suggests, in a subtle manner, that in the next life not only will the unbelievers become the fuel of hell. Translation: And give good news, lo Muhammad, to those who believe in this book and do good deeds, accordance with its teachings. For them there will be gardens underneath, which canals flow. Their fruits will so resemble the fruits on the earth, that every time they will be provided with fruits, they will say, Such fruits were provided to us before on the earth. 26. And there will be pure spouses. 27 for them, and therein they will live forever. Commentary: The fruits of paradise will not be so exotic in appearance as to be unfamiliar to people. They will resemble the fruits to which human beings are accustomed in this world, though infinitely excelling them in delicacy of taste. In appearance they may resemble, say, mangoes, pomegranates, and oranges, and the people of paradise will be able to identify them as such. In taste, however, there will be no comparison between the terrestrial and heavenly fruits. The Quranic text has the Arabic word azwaj, which means spouses or couples, and embraces both husband and wife. The husband is the zawj of his wife, and vice versa. In the next world, however, this relationship of spouses will be qualified by purity. If a man has been virtuous in this world while his wife has not, their relationship in the next world will be sundered, and the man will receive another spouse who will be pure and virtuous. On the other hand, if a virtuous woman has had an evil husband, she will be tied in companionship with a virtuous man. Where husband and wife have both been virtuous, their relationship will become everlasting. Translation: Well, Allah is not ashamed to cite the similitude of a gnat or of something even more insignificant than this 28. As for those who believe, they come to know from the same similitude that it is the revelation from their Lord, but those who disbelieve say, "What does Allah mean by such similitudes?" 29. Allah leads astray many and guides many to the right way by the same thing. 30. And He leads astray only those who disobey Allah. Commentary. Here an objection is indirectly refuted. At several places in the Quran, spiders, flies, gnats, and so on are mentioned in order to elucidate certain points. Opponents objected to this on the grounds that such objects were too lowly to find a place in the Book of God. They indicated that had the Quran indeed been a revelation from God, it would not have mentioned such trivial objects. Those who do not wish to understand things and are not motivated by the urge to seek the truth become enmeshed in superficial questions relating to the Book of God, draw altogether erroneous conclusions when they encounter references to apparently insignificant things such as gnats, and are thereby thrown further and further away from the truth. Those who seek the truth and possess true perception, on the other hand, penetrate through these superficialities and perceive the gems of wisdom that they embody. This appreciation makes their hearts attest that such wisdom could have no other source than God Himself. Fasiq means transgressor, disobedient. See also N33 below. Translation: who break Allah's covenant after ratifying it. 31. Who cut asunder what Allah has ordered to be joined. 32. And who produce chaos on the earth. 33. These are the people who are indeed the losers. Commentary: the injunctions or ordinances issued by a sovereign to his servants and subjects are termed ad in Arabic, since compliance with them becomes obligatory for the latter. Ad has been used here in this sense. The ad referred to signifies God's eternal command that all human beings are obliged to render their service, obedience and worship to Him alone. After its binding refers to the promise made by mankind to remain faithful to the injunctions of God at the time of Adam's creation. For details see verse 7, 172. That is, the transgressors strike their blows at those very relationships upon which the individual and collective well-being of mankind depends, and which God wants maintained on a sound basis. This small sentence is of great import as it embraces the whole of human morality and social life, and extends from relationships between individuals to those between nations. To cut asunder what Allah has commanded should He joined does not merely signify the disruption of relationships between man and man. It forbids the establishment of all forms of human relationship except the right and permissible ones. For wrong and prohibited bonds between people have the same consequences as the disruption of the bonds of human relationship. As such, in these three sentences, the nature of transgression and the attitude of transgressors is fully defined. To debase the relationship between man and God, and between man and man, necessarily leads to mischief. Those who spread this mischief on earth are transgressors. Translation: how is it that you adopt the attitude of disbelief towards Allah when the fact is that you were lifeless and He gave you life, and He will take away life from you and wilt again restore you to life, then you shall ultimately return to Him. Translation: He it is who created for you all that there is on the earth. He then turned to the sky and ordered it into 7 heavens. 34. And He has full knowledge of everything. 35. Commentary: it is difficult to explain precisely what is meant by the 7 heavens. In all ages man has tried, with the help of observation and speculation, to conceptualize the heavens, that which lies beyond and above the earth. As we well know, the concepts that have thus developed have constantly changed. Hence it would be improper to tie the meaning of these words of the Quran to any one of these numerous concepts. What might be broadly inferred from this statement is that either God has divided the universe beyond the earth into 7 distinct spheres, or that this earth is located in that part of the universe which consists of 7 different spheres. In this sentence, attention is drawn to 2 important facts. First, man is warned against disbelief and rebellion against God, for God knows all that man does and none of his actions are hidden from him. Second, it is suggested to man that if he turns away from the all-knowing God, from the one who is the source of all knowledge, this can only leave him groping in the darkness of ignorance and error. When there is no source of truth knowledge except God, and when that very light which alone can illuminate man's life can be obtained from none else but him, what good can come out of deviation from the truth? Translation: Just 36 recall the time when your Lord said to the angels 37, I am going to appoint a vicegerent 38 on the earth. They humbly inquired, Are you going to appoint such a one as will cause disorder and shed blood on the earth? 39 We are already engaged in hymning your praise and hallowing your name. 40 Commentary: Thus far man has been summoned to serve and obey God on the grounds that God is his creator and sustainer, that in his grasp lies man's life and death, that he alone is the Lord who rules over the entire universe in which he lives. In view of this, the only attitude which can be deemed appropriate for man is one of service and subjection to God. The same idea is presented in the following section, but supported on slightly different grounds. In this connection, the Quran defines precisely the true nature of man and his correct position in the universe. It also enlightens us to a period of man's past which is otherwise inaccessible. What the Quran tells us here, with its practical consequences, is of far greater value than knowledge derived by unearthing bones and pottery and piecing together scattered fragments of information with the help of conjecture. The word malak in Arabic means message. Khalifa, or vicegerent, is one who exercises the authority delegated to him by his principal and does so in the capacity of his deputy and agent. Hence, whatever authority he possesses is not inherently his own, but is derived from and circumscribed by the limits set by his principal. A vicegerent is not entitled to do what he pleases, but is obliged to carry out the will of his master. If the vicegerent were either to begin thinking himself the real owner and to use the authority delegated to him in whatever manner he pleased, or if he were to acknowledge someone other than the real owner as his lord and master and to follow his directions, these would be deemed acts of infidelity and rebellion. This was not said by way of objection or protest. It was said rather by way of inquiry, and in order to satisfy their curiosity, it is inconceivable that the angels could object to any of God's decisions. The word vicegerent suggested to them that the proposed species of creation would be placed on earth with some authority. It was incomprehensible to them how a species of being which had been invested with discretionary power and authority could conform with the overall order of the universe, which is based on absolute and involuntary subservience to the will of God. They thought that investing anyone with authority in any part of the universe would lead to mischief and disorder. It is this aspect which the angels were curious about. This does not mean that the angels considered themselves suitable for vicegerency. They merely wanted to point out that God's orders were already being carried out fully. That the word tasbih has 2 meanings. Jariya, to proclaim glory, and alaya, to exert oneself earnestly and energetically. In the same way, takdis has 2 meanings. Alaya, to celebrate or proclaim holiness, and araya, to purify. This was an answer to the latter doubt expressed by the angels. The angels were told that the reason for the appointment of a vicegerent was best known to God alone and could not be understood by them. Despite the services rendered by the angels, something over and above their work was still required. God decided, therefore, to create a new species of being in the world and to invest it with some authority.